Good morning, everyone. My name is Laura Stranks and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to show you how to make this beautiful special little box. I did these for table gifts for my Christmas workshop that was just yesterday, and I hope you enjoy what I'm about to show you. Just a couple of things before we start. As I mentioned, I'm a demonstrator here in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia. My Facebook page is called Cards by Laura. In there you'll find all the cards and creations that I do at my workshops and classes. There's no tutorials or anything in that page. It's just there for viewing. I do sell my cards through there, but not very often. It's if you're interested and you want them posted to you, that's fine. I do post within Australia, not overseas. I've also got a Facebook group called Laura's Craft Room Tips and Tutorials. Now, this is a huge group. There's over 20,000 members in there. In the Files tab, you'll find all the tutorials for these and lots more. I've been doing these for over 2 years now. And also in the Featured tab, there are important notices in there, and also some videos that I do live on a Saturday morning. And then the tutorial or PDF goes into the Files tab for those as well. You need to apply to go or request to join this Facebook group. There are 2 questions if you wish to join. One is why you'd like to join the group, and the other is that you agree to the rules. If you don't see those questions on your device, try going on a different device. Like, if most of the time people don't see them on their phone, but if you go to either an iPad or a laptop, you'll see the questions there. You will get back a notification if you haven't answered the questions to say that you need to answer those before you can join. But there's lots and lots. It's not exclusive to Stampin' Up!, that group. It's a lot of people sharing what they make. It's all sorts of crafts. It's quite a big group, and I love what I do in there. If you're watching today for the first time, my YouTube channel is called Creative Gems. Love you to subscribe. And also, if you hit the little notification button after you've subscribed, it will notify you when my videos go up for viewing. I do record my videos, so just for convenience, but they're always there to watch. That's the business side of it out of the road. I'll get that out of the road really quickly, and we'll get started. Now, this little box, it's called, well, it's been around for a little while. I've tweaked quite a few things on it to make it a lot more simpler to make, and that's the inside of your box. So you've got the little Ferrero Rocher chocolates in there. The first one I did of the insert piece here, I made these a little bit small, and the chocolates were sitting up and the lid wouldn't go down properly, so I fixed that. And also I found an easier way of dividing up these sections in the middle here without you having to guess and lay everything out. So we shall get started. I have used up almost all of my gold glitter paper. I thought I was going to run out, but I didn't. I don't think Stampin' Up! Has a gold glitter paper at the moment, but I wanted to use mine. I had lots here, so I have used that up. The H out of here is from a retired stamp set bundle from years ago, which I've never sold. They're large letters. Even the flowers are from a retired set, but you could decorate it any way you like. I'm sure you could find a die that would suit the H. If not, maybe borrow from a friend or something. And also the little circles around the O's, they're from my layering circle dies that are from years ago as well. So apologies for using a lot of retired stuff. I don't normally do that, but I just love this box. So we shall get started, and as usual I've got my measurements typed up. We'll just leave that one up there. These are the pieces you will need, and because I made 12 of them, and I'm recording this video, I've still got the 12 here to do. were almost finished, and so I've cut everything, and I've got multiples that I can show you without you going watching me having to cut everything as we go. So our base, we'll start with the base. That's not the base, this is the base. So I'll just show you one at a time. This is your base, and it measures 11 inches by 5 inches, and I've done this in cherry cobbler. I'll give you the scoring measurements in a minute. I have scored it, but I'll give you that in a sec. Then we have the lid, which is the next biggest one, that one there. It measures 10 1/8 by 4 1/8. All the colours are the same except the black panel at the top there. And then the insert piece, which I've done the measurements on, and I've tabbed it all for that one. I thought I had it. That's okay, we don't need another one. The insert is 9 3/8 by 3 3/8, and I'll show you how to do that one as well. My lid mat is these two here, which is the black 8 1/4 by 2 3/8. That's that one. And the upper mat 8 inches by 2 1/8, and I've embossed that with the dotted circles embossing folder. It's a 3D, and it's a large folder, so you can get that whole length in on the folder. There's a few large ones. There's a plaid one and that one, and a couple of others that are bigger embossing folders. You don't have to emboss. You could put DSP on the top or just plain cardstock on the top. So it's not necessary that you do emboss it. My petals, which I have, hang on and I'll get them. I've got them all here in a little tub. Where did I put them? Here. I didn't put them in the right thing. I've die cut all of these already, so we'll just get some out. The large petals, that's the one I'll show you from here. It's the glitter one here at the back. It's 6 by 3. I did 6 by 3 because you need 2, so you'll get 2 out of the 6 by 3 section piece of glitter paper. And then in the center one, I've done the gold foil. They're the middle petals. They're 4 1/2 by 2 1/4, and you'll get 2 out of that length of foil. The smaller petals, they're 1 1/8 by 1 1/8. You'll need 2 of those. And from those, I cut out these circles, and I cut out the small petal there from the center of that, so as not to waste too much cardstock. You can cut it, that little piece in the center is left over, so you can cut out your smaller petal out of that. Then the cherry cobbler petals, I cut those from this here, where I've cut out the center. I'll show you how we do that in a minute. So they're just a small little piece. They're just a tiny, tiny little petal there. I'll show you the set in a minute. Oh, here it is right here. So it's these poinsettia petals, and all the dies are in here. So I didn't use the largest petal. I used this one, and then one of these small ones, and one of these tiny ones here. So there you get 2 of those insane, and there's 2 of those. One's got little holes in and one's got solid, so I used the solid one there. But I didn't use the large one because it overhung over the top of the lid too far. So that's the set I used. My greeting mat is in the gold glitter, 2 1/2 by 2 1/2. That's that one there. And the greeting top mat, I've embossed those. I'll just get you one out. I've done all these bits. I thought I had them in the tub that I got out. It's okay, I'll get another one. That's this one here. Wishing you a bright and beautiful Christmas, and that's from one of the current sets. Oh, there's my pieces there. I knew I had them out. And there's the rest of them over there. It's from this Artful Amaryllis. I think that's how it's pronounced. That's out of that. That's a current set in the, I think it's in the mini catalogue at the moment currently. So I did use one current set. And the H's for the they're in gold glitter. They're 2 1/4 by 1 1/4. You need 3 of those, and then the frame that goes around the little chocolates, they're 1 7/8 by 1 7/8, and there's 3 of those. Keep the centerpiece because you can use those to cut out your little petals on your flowers there. So if you're cutting more, if you prep everything beforehand, it's not a problem. Here's all my other pieces ready here. So I'll put that back over there. Now we shall get started, and I'll show you the scoring. It shouldn't take too long because I've prepped so much of the stuff ahead of time. It's just a matter of putting it all together. So I'll just get out my measurements here. Excuse me. So on this one, this is the base of the box. It's scored at 1 1/4 on all 4 sides. So that's there. I've already scored it, but I'll show you again. 1 1/4, 1 1/4 there, 1 1/4, 3, and 1 1/4, 4. So that's all of those. Then, from the beauty of not live recording, we have done the next piece of that. We'll keep going with this. What I did, and you'll need your snips here. I'm just going to trim that other little bit there. You need to make sure the score line is cut away. So what I've done, I've folded and burnished all the score lines on that. Just have a mouthful of water before I keep croaking. And then you're going to create tabs, and I do it on the short end. You could do it on this side if you wish, doesn't really matter. And I've cut up the score line up to that first score line there, and then I've notched each of the corners to make a tab. So you're only notching these tabs, don't notch this center one here, and that's what you end up with. I shall put that aside. We'll finish the scoring first. This is the lid, which I have scored and notched already, and it is, my measurements, it is at 3/4 of an inch on all 4 sides. So that's 3/4 there all the way around, 3/4, and then you're notching again with that little tab there on both sides of the tab corners, and you'll end up with that. These will go in like so. I'll show you that in a minute. So that's my lid, and we'll do that in a minute. And then the insert, which I have here, which I have cut and I've marked, but the insert is scored at 1/2 inch on all 4 sides. So you're doing basically the same, but just different measurements all the way around. So you're doing 1/2 inch on the insert piece, and then you're doing your little tabs on the corners and notching them on the corners. So we'll stick with this insert piece, and I have tweaked this so that it's much easier for you to do. Oh, hang on. Yes, that's fine. We'll keep going with this. I'll just show you. What was I going to show you? We'll go from here. Oh, the letters. So we need to get one onto the floor. You don't have to use glitter on this. You could use just gold foil. You could use just plain cardstock. It doesn't have to be gold. So what I've done, I marked halfway on these score lines. Now you leave this one flat. You can put the others together. I'll show you those in a minute. This one you need to leave flat because we've got to cut these circles out. It will go this way eventually, but we need to cut 3 circles across here. So the way I did it, I laid these in here, and this is the long way of doing it, because then I need to get this in here. So rather than you laying it all out and then having to pick it up and get it back in the right place, I have worked it out if you mark halfway on from your score lines, so don't worry about that end piece there. So halfway between this section here, which worked out, and I've added it to my PDF, it is 1 3/16. I know it's an odd number, but if you work with that, it's a lot easier. I'll do it with my ruler and a pencil. Just get my other ruler out. It's got all the 16ths on it. And a pencil. So on this end here, it is 2 3/8. The width from that score line to that score line is 2 3/8. So I worked out halfway is 1 3/16. This ruler I've got here is magic. It shows all the 16ths as well. So that's 2 3/16 there, and you'll do a 1 3/16, sorry, and the same up this end, 1 3/16. And then I ruled a line across from that point to that point, which is there. You probably can't see the line, like so. I don't know if you can see that line across there with the pencil. And then I went, and I've worked this out for you. It's at, I'll give you the measurements, 2 inches. So with your ruler again, put it on that score line there and to the end, and you're going to just put a little pencil line at 2 inches, 4 3/4 inches, and 7.5 inches. So we've just got little cross lines on those, on that long first line that you did. So that's going to be the center of my cutout section. I'll show you the dies. I've got them here. Keep dropping all my bits. So these are the dies I used there, and I'll tell you the name. They're on my wall here. Layering circle dies, and these are the scalloped ones, and I'll give you a measurement of the one. You need the smallest one. So these two outside ones were for my greeting and my greeting mat, which is those two there, and I'll give you the measurements across those. And then this one here, you need to create a frame, like this little frame here. The inner circle, and I'll give you the measurement of the inner circle. You do need to get this right. It's 1.5 inches across. So just measure your cut on the back side of your cut line here, and make sure it's, so if you want to use a different circle die, you could use a straight one, or you could even use a punch, so long as it's 1.5 inches. Don't go any smaller than that, because your chocolates, the one I did for a mistake, I had it smaller and the chocolates wouldn't sit right down in it. They were sitting up like this, and then the lid didn't go on flat. And if you do it larger, they're going to just sink down inside it. So they can only go to the bottom of the box. But the 1.5 inch circle is perfect if you can get the 1.5 inch cutout for that. But then you need a layering one. So this is the next size up on these, and I slotted them. They do slot together like so, and I cut the two together. I tape them together with just washi tape first, and they do go together like so. Tape them together and then cut that out, and you'll end up with this little frame like that. But just make sure your inner one is only 1.5 inches in diameter. So that is that. We've done that bit, and then after I've cut them, we have that. So there at the measurements, your bigger gap will be up this end. So those three, I just laid them on the dies. Once I'd cut the, all you're doing is using your smaller one to cut out this. When you're cutting this, you need the two together. But this one here, you just use the smallest one of the two, and you'll center that little cross. I'll show you from this previous one. So you'll center that little cross section where you've put your pencil mark on there. Just eyeball it so it's even top and bottom here. It's mainly just to get this in the center, and that's the perfect spot for you to put your H. in there. And then that one there is lined up at 2 3/4, I think it was. Yes, 4 3/4, sorry, 4 3/4 and 7 1/2. So all of those, just line them up with the cross piece in the center, even top and bottom there, and die cut with the smallest die. So that's those. That's how you do that one. We'll put that one aside. We shall finish with this one first. So I'm going to glue these around on here. I was going to use some adhesive sheets on the back, but I'm never very fussed on those, so I thought I would just glue them on. Just get my liquid glue. It's a little bit hard to use anything else for this. Just wait until I make sure I get this out. Should work. I'm just putting a tiny amount of glue around there. Doesn't take much to hold it. I prefer glue as to adhesive sheets. I'm never fussed on there, unless it's a big piece for adhesive sheets, but for these I prefer the glue. So that's that one. We've got 3 of those. Just get those. I've had everything here in the tub ready to go, so you don't have to watch me cutting everything. Let's put another little bit of glue around these. I could have put one of these together for you, but I thought we're pretty much, whoops, down on my shirt. I've got my team, my group ladies, there's 6 of us from my team. We're all going to On Stage in Brisbane in March next year. Registration is full. I could not believe after 2 days, we went on Wednesday. Just remove that little bit of backing. It's just part of the backing of the cardstock. Yes, Wednesday we got on Wednesday morning, and by Thursday evening it was full. So another lady that I know, she's not in my team, she missed out. There is a waiting list, but they're very doubtful if people will get to go. It's up to the venue. I need to re-glue that one a bit. I just put a little bit of glue on here. They said it's up to the venue to whether they'll let them have more people in there. I suppose it's workplace health and safety. You're not allowed to overload the function place. So that's those 3. They just need a minute to dry, so we'll put that aside for a sec. We'll go on to this other piece. I know it's all over the place, but I'm just going to let that dry for a minute. We shall start with the bottom. We'll do the base. Now, I did have one. I'll just get one of the ones that I've got all the tabs on. This will save you watching me put all. This is tear and tape, which I always use on boxes. So I did my corners like I showed you before after we'd scored everything. And then I run my tear and tape parallel with my score lines. That way, when you put it up here, it's going to glue that, stick that down nice and flush with there. If you go this way, you've got gaps. So try and run your tape along parallel with your score lines. I'll just take the backing off these. Save you watching me put all my tape on. There's nothing else to do on the base except put it together, like do these corner bits, so it doesn't take too long. The lid's got the decoration and the insert's got decoration as well. I'm making 12 of these, which everything's prepped and ready to go. I've just got to put them all together. I can see here, just make sure your straight edge here is there's no score line showing. There was a fraction there where the score line was still showing. That's good, all good. And then you just pull those in, line them up along there. If you don't get it perfectly flush there, you can trim the top a little bit off. It's no big deal. So that's there. Yeah, so the girls in my team that wanted to go, they all got in, thank goodness. A couple of them had trouble registering on their phone at 9 o'clock. But they eventually got there on their laptop when they got home. Lucky it didn't fill up too quickly. So that's the base. That's all we do on the base. The lid here, and I've got some spare lids. This one is already cut, and I was just checking my score lines are all cut off, which they are. And then I'll get one that's already prepped. I did all these yesterday, so it was all ready to go. So from that, after you've cut your corners and all your notching and everything, you end up with this. And then you've got your tear and tape across parallel with your score lines. If you do your tabs in this direction, your tape will go the other way. Just do parallel with your score lines. So we'll take those off and put that together. Actually, I might just do the decoration on this lid first. So I shall get you another one of these. Here's one I've already glued together. I did use just liquid glue under this, but you need a fair bit because it's heavily embossed. Use a fair bit of liquid glue under it. So that's going on there. We can glue that down. You could use your seal for this if you wish, or tear and tape. I just use liquid glue for anything that's standard. So that one will go on there. If you do this while it's flat, it's much easier to line up and get nice and straight. Then I didn't put any flowers together at all, so we shall just tip these here, and I'll show you how I did these. I'll do that other bit in a minute. So I've got your large leaf, that leaf, the little one, and then the red one on top. I've got those, and I'm just using glue dots, mainly because the backing on this glitter paper is quite smooth and shiny, and it doesn't work that well with normal liquid glue. So I'm just putting one glue dot in the center there, straddle this so the petals are overlapping, and one on each. Straddle that in the center of the previous one, and then the little one on top. And that goes in the middle, and I have got some embellishments to put on that. I'll do the other one. This is the slow bit. Although it's not too bad. Once you get everything cut, you don't have to put flowers on the top. You can put, I know one lady I saw, she did a belly band around it. I didn't want to do a belly band, I prefer decorating, but you can just put any type of decoration. It doesn't have to be as fancy. So that's those two, and they're going on here. And then I've got my, so as I said before, the two larger dies of that section, I'll tell you the measurements for those. The smaller one is 1 7/8, and then it's the next one after that. It is about 2 1/8. So they straddle together but you're cutting one out of one and one out of the other. I heat embossed this. I showed you the stamp set that I used. Now I'm going to use some tear and tape or seal. I might use my seal on this because I know that black is not going to stick easily to the glitter paper. So we shall do something a little bit stronger. It should stay stuck. I'm just centering that on there. And that will go in the centre. My two flowers on the outside. You can curl these up a little bit. And I'm not doing anything up high. The box is high enough already. I'm just going to put a couple of glue dots in the centre here so it will stick nice and firmly. And over this side, they do overhang a little bit over the edges. That one there's got a little bit of, oh, it's gone. Some more glue dots on those. What would we do without glue dots? They're a lot stronger than glue. I find they're really good. If you you can screw them up into a ball to give yourself a little bit of height too, if you need to. And this one I'm putting up on dimensionals in the centre. And that's the lid done, except we'll put the corners together. I hope you give this a go. It's not too difficult. It's pretty much 3 boxes inside of each other, or one on top and one inside. So if you like doing boxes like I do, it's fun to do. So I'll centre this in here. I've got the little circle dots there to go by as well. When I embossed that, I lined it up so the centre of the dot, the embossing folder was in the centre of my cut. Just take all these backs off. Got washing on the line today, and I think it's going to rain later. Hopefully it'll be dry by the time I get it off. So I'm just lining up those corners nice and straight. The lid has got a little bit of excess room, but you don't want it tight anyway. So I left it as the measurement that I did. I prefer a little bit more room than not having enough. So as you'll see, it goes on comfortably on the top. Just like so. You could put a belly band around it if you wish. I wouldn't do all that decoration. I'd do my decoration on the belly band if you're going to. Now we'll go back to this piece. This is my insert. So that's going to sit there. I should have 3 of these. Yes, there's the other one. So they fit perfectly in those spaces that I created. So you don't have to lay it all out for yourself. You can just go by the measurements where I put the line. We'll see how we go with liquid glue on this. It should stick okay, hopefully. I know there's a shiny back on these. Use my tweezers. There's a shiny back on this cardstock. So just level them even top and bottom there when you push them down. We can put this one together after we've put all the decoration on. Excuse me if I keep going off camera. I'm not used to, well, I am used to it, but every time I seem to be working. When you're at home by yourself, you work away and you don't think about where you're situated on the camera. And then when you go to do a video, and I watch it back, I always watch it back before I upload it. And you end up, part of it's, you're down working in front of you and no one's watching, no one can see what they're doing. But anyway, I'm sure you can see most of it. So that's my ho ho ho. I've got to still buy some more chocolates. I've only had a few there from another project that I did. These ones I only put one little piece of tear and tape on. They're a little bit narrow to do more than that. You could put a little bit of glue. Actually, I might do a little bit of glue on the edge of it as well, just to hold it firm. I'll just do one at a time. Put a little bit of glue out there. Fold that around. This fits comfortably inside the box. You can always put liquid glue on top of your tape, which makes it strong as well. If you're thinking it's not going to be strong enough to hold, I've just put it at the end of where there's a bit of a gap there. That will definitely stick it together. Just take the beauty of tear and tape, it sticks straight away. If you're using liquid glue, you have to wait a few seconds for it to grab, whereas this one you won't have to if you put a little bit of tape on it. They're sitting up still. That's the liquid glue, but it'll set down hard once it's had time to dry. Just give it a good press down. When I'm finished, I'll just leave it sit. And back to the box. That fits nicely in there. And we have some embellishments to put on the lid. I'm just using, and these are currant, surprise, surprise, Neutrals Adhesive Back Sequins I'm using. You could use any gold. If you decide to do silver on here, I'm sure there's other chocolates that would fit in that hole that you could line up with something silver. So don't feel that you have to use gold. You could use normal cardstock. It doesn't have to be fancy cardstock. And you could try and get some sort of chockies that go in there that fit comfortably in there without using gold. I know the gold's not cheap to buy. I'm just putting 2 of those in the center of that. And then I shall show you from here. We'll take these out, put them in so. That's that one and that one. How easy is that? That's 2 done. I've only got 10 to go. But everything's cut, so I'll get on to those today. Thank you very much for watching. Oh, I did miss one here. I knew it because I always do 3s. Didn't think of that. We'll put one up there. And that is all. I'll show you. This is all my prep work, or everything's cut here, ready to go. And lots of other bits. All these other ones are ready to go, all ready to assemble. So I always recommend cutting everything first, getting everything ready, laying it out if you have to, and then assembling last. Thank you for watching today, and if you like what I do, love you to subscribe and love you to join my big group. Just remember to answer the questions, and I shall see you all again next week. Have a lovely week. Bye for now.